Yo, here we go with another video. In this video, I wanted to touch base on a few different topics from requests I've gotten over time, like what skills I grab first while leveling, how I edit my UI, and how I play the class from a positional perspective and how I prioritize my healing. But first, for those of you that are new here, welcome in. I've played Ashes since Alpha 1 back in 2021 and have played every phase since, accumulating several thousand hours into this title already. I have got to see a lot of changes over these phases of development, be it good or bad. I've got to meet a huge part of the Ashes community in my time playing throughout these phases, and I've got to say it's been some of the best times that I've had in an MMO so far. I have mostly positive interactions in the Ashes community, be it trading or farming for gear and random pugs, or even some trash talk on the battlefield, It is just a game, and with competitive players come competitive egos, but respect is still shared at the end of the day. I just want to take the time to thank everyone for all the positive feedback and asking for more content. I really enjoy making these videos, and I really appreciate all the love and support. Now on to the guide. A lot of you that have played or heard of MMOs know that it typically consists of a trinity of roles: a tank, a healer, and a DPS. A Cleric in Ashes provides your team with high healing output to sustain PvP and PvE engagements, from passive healing to resurrecting your comrades to satisfyingly large crit heals, or even smiting your enemy with your radiant prowess. In the first part of this guide, I will be providing a leveling schematic skills for you to grab to make sure your healing experience is easy and effective. As a Cleric, you are granted a class meter that fills while you are in combat, called Divine Power. You gain healing crit chance based on the amount of divine power gained up to a maximum of 10%, which is applied to your current healing crit chance. Divine power can also be converted as a resource by using the skill Essence Infusion or Divine Infusion. Essence Infusion is a passive skill that you activate once and is applied as a buff that burns whatever divine power you gain from combat as a mana for your skills. This is a skill that I use early on in leveling to help sustain my mana while healing my group. Now, Divine Infusion is a skill that becomes an active ability that uses your divine power that you've built up over the course of the battle to instant cast your channeling abilities. I swap to this ability once I am able to sustain my mana without having to use Essence Infusion. This is normally later on when I acquire Blessed Weapon and some mana passives from the weapon I opt in, if it so happens to be a bow. Other skills that you do acquire at level 1 is Smite and Mend. Smite being a damaging ability that deals damage on the initial hit and also applies Conflagrate if the enemy is burning. It does convert all of the burning stacks on target up to 21 stacks. Mend is a healing ability that has 3 charges, and it shoots a healing projectile restoring 150% healing power to a target. There is a range and a travel time associated with this ability. At level 2, I grab our first healing over time spell. This is Soothing Glow. You get 2 charges, and activating it on a target heals for 60% healing power every second for 8 seconds. I usually activate this in the beginning of combat to mitigate incoming damage. At level 3, I go for Flash Cure, which instantly heals your target for 175% healing power. This is a really nice skill to save when your team is taking some heavy damage. I typically combo this skill with the next skill I grab at level 4, which is Deliverance. Now, Deliverance is the most efficient healing skill you have in your arsenal. It does come with a channeling cost, and the longer you channel this ability, the higher the percentage of healing output you do, up to 1000% at max charge. And while channeling this ability, you can cast your Flash Cure during this time if your current target or another target is taking a lot of damage. At level 5, I grab Resplendent Beam for an AoE heal. This is a channeled ability that heals your target for 300% healing power, and at max channel, it bounces on up to 4 additional allies near the original target, healing less for each subsequent target. At level 6, we gain access to the next tier of skills and acquire our Resurrection ability that brings to life a fallen ally. With the skill point that we get, I like to grab Divine Flare. This is also an AoE healing ability that is cast on the ground, healing for 1000% healing power divided among all targets within the AoE. At level 7, it's time to grab Defiant Light, which is one of my favorite abilities in the Cleric toolkit. This ability heals 5% of max health up to 300% healing power for 10 seconds, which is a massive hot and arguably one of the best heals in the game. If fatal damage is received while the hot is active, it consumes the effect to prevent the death and heals for up to 150% healing power. At level 8, another favorite of mine, we're going to grab Barrier. Now, Barrier sacrifices 25% of the caster's HP to grant that much HP as a barrier for target ally for 10 seconds. It does not stack and it debuffs your target for 10 seconds where Barrier cannot be applied by another Cleric. At level 9, I'm going to grab Purify. It's a skill that dispels up to 3 debuffs on a target ally. Now at level 9, if you are lacking heals, you can swap this with the next 2 skills and save this for after you get Communal Restoration. At level 10 and 11, we're going to grab my favorite AoE, and it's the Consecrating Wave, or I like to refer to as Sea Wave, and its passive Restorative Wave. Consecrating Wave shoots a conal AoE that deals 150% damage and applies Volatile to all enemies hit and dispels 1 buff on each enemy hit if the enemy is silenced. Grabbing the passive also heals you and up to 10 allies in the wave by 250% healing power. At level 12, I'm grabbing Communal Restoration as it is one of the best mitigation spells in the toolkit. Now this spell has a small cast time and grants health equal to 150% healing power to all members in your party that are in range of this spell. Now this spell also grants a temporary shield equal to 10% of the target's max health. Now it also provides a hot that heals 30% healing power every second for 6 seconds. Now I do want to be clear about how this skill works and how it's used. If you are in a raid, this ability only affects the people that are in your group, so plan your raids accordingly. Level 13 and 14, we grab our escape utility, Wings of Salvation, and its passive, Unyielding Wings of Salvation. Now the base ability allows you to dash to an ally in range to grant the target and caster a shield equal to 250% magical power. Its passive Unyielding breaks all disabling effects on the caster, for example, any type of root or freezing ability. Now the Cleric has very limited mobility and positioning is extremely important in PvP and PvE scenarios, and this skill will definitely get you out of some really sticky situations. At level 15, it's time to go back and grab Judgment. I grabbed this skill later on because once I am able to sustain my mana pool more efficiently, I swap my Essence Infusion to Divine Infusion, so I can instant cast this ability when an ally is taking a lot of damage or to secure a kill on a high priority target. Now this ability does have long cast time, so reducing the time it takes for this spell to go off could make or break a battle. This spell will restore health equal to 1500% of healing power to the target. And if cast on an enemy, it deals 280% radiant damage and applies burning for 150% fire damage to that target. Also, if the enemy is shaken, the caster is also healed for the damage inflicted by Judgment. Level 16, Healing Touch. This skill is typically a quick heal that I use on myself, or if an ally is close enough within melee range, it is a great healing spell that is very resource efficient, which heals for 500% of your healing power. At level 17, I get the passive Abundant Soothing Glow to get an extra charge, raising it from 2 charges to 3 charges. This passive also extends the duration if the target is affected by Soothing Glow by its base duration. At level 18, I get Plentiful Mend. This increases Mend to give me an additional 2 charges from 3 to 5 charges. At level 19 and 20, I opt for Blessed Weapon and its passive Bountiful Blessed Weapon. Now if you're lacking a bard in the group and not able to capitalize on their mana saga, you can opt for this as early as you need to help with mana sustain. The base ability imbues the target's weapon, causing combo finishers to deal an additional 5% radiant damage and applies mana regen to target that regenerates X amount of mana every 1.5 seconds for 6 seconds per application, up to a maximum of 15 seconds. The Bountiful Blessed Weapon not only grants the target mana regen, but also the caster of the Blessed Weapon. This ability is a great utility to put on your bard because of their need to dump resonance stacks during battle. Level 21 and 22, I grab the Divine Flare passives, Divine Protection and Divine Retribution. Divine Protection boosts magical defense by 30% for all allies inside the area before it detonates. Divine Retribution deals 250% radiant damage and applies silence to the enemies inside the area when it detonates. This damage is divided among the number of enemies hit, just like its base ability, Divine Flare. Divine Retribution does not null the effect of the base healing properties. Allies in the AoE still receive the healing effects of this ability. At level 23, Redemptive Deliverance. This heals more based on the missing health percentage of the target. Nothing extra special about this passive. Level 24, I Get Condemned. This is a great ability to use to incap an enemy to remove them from the battle for 10 seconds. But if the target is conflagged, you stun that enemy for 3 seconds instead. This is a great utility to combo with your smite to stun an enemy. Level 25 is a flex spot. You can grab the last skill on the tree, Chains of Restraint. This spell is an AoE that deals 40% radiant damage every second and applies snare to the target in the AoE. Also, each weakened target affected by the initial pulse becomes rooted. This concludes the leveling part of the guide. Depending on where you level and your group composition, you can opt to grab any skill that you need for your level, as you can respec your entire skill tree for free at any time. Now for my settings that I use in game, I do like to play more competitively than I do from an immersive perspective, so I do opt to play on lower settings for better performance, especially in large scale GVG battles. I'll go over some special settings worth mentioning as well. Attach player effects is the setting in which buffs and debuffs attach and detach from your player bar. Uncheck this setting to customize where you would like these to display on your screen. You can also resize the buffs and debuffs in the UI editor. Auto attack enabling is an efficient way for you to quickly follow up with combos on your enemy without having to hit another key. I usually keep auto attack on, and if I do need to CC a target, a good trick is to swap to your melee to incap a target so you don't auto attack and accidentally break the CC. Also, if you're new and leveling, you do want to enable the first 2 PvP settings so you don't accidentally flag on a combatant if you're trying to avoid conflict. These settings require you to force flag to heal or attack a flagged combatant. This will help prevent accidental engaging in any unwanted conflict around you. You can check the keybind tab to see what keybind you have set up to force PvP. In the targeting tab, I like to enable the dual defensive and offensive targeting setting. This allows you to have an ally member and an enemy selected simultaneously so that you can deal damage while healing your team. For nameplates, I like to see the names and the health bars of all allies and enemies around at all times, to be aware of all targets. You can go through each tab to set up Always Show for every nameplate or just the ones you want highlighted. In the setting menu, you can edit your HUD to however you like for a more personal and immersive experience. You can also access the HUD editor with a keybind for quick edits. In the editor, all you have to do to move the frame is to drag it across the screen or select the pencil in the top right hand corner of the frame to alter its appearance. Now that you're all set up, I'll give a quick PvP commentary of an in-game battle my guild had in the previous phase. I'll do my best to relay the information as quickly as possible in real time. A more in-depth analysis takes a bit longer to describe and will require pausing the video. To give context here, my guild is battling several guilds over the world boss Tumok. To be respectful of the participants, the battle comms will be muted. We just got finished pushing up the hill. We are taking our ground back. We are trying to just stay healed up. I'm looking at where they're postured up versus where my team is and how they're postured up. I'm just throwing out my AoE heals. I know Copium, a good friend of mine, he's in our ranks, but he's almost one shot, so I try to go in on him. I see Tim back here, so I target him, just trying to get him out of our ranks. We're just trying to posture back up. I see Mirror taking damage. I know he's going to get swapped, so I swap to Swings to try to get him healed up. I see Copium trying to take more damage. I get the secure on the kill on him. I'm looking for Jelly. My kill leader's right next to me, so I go in on him. I get yanked by a tank. I wings out to Muggsy. I'm coming back. I'm healing Muggsy on my way back to try and get back into ranks. I'm just surveying the field, seeing where everybody is. I see everybody's kind of good, so I go back to the target. I try to kill him. I don't get the kill. I just heal up Miraku. I come back to my team, just try to top them off a little bit, just stay in my ranks, and just try not to get too far away from my group. But I don't want it to stay too staggered on my group to nuke us down with massive AoEs if the team has a good root on us. I'm just staying here, being a presence, just postured up. I come back to my team. I try to top them off. I hit them with a sea wave here. I'm looking back. We're backpedaling here, so I'm just coming back to get my ranks to try to posture up again. I know that we're dwindling. We got to see a red in front of us right here. I'm just posturing up. I'm looking. Nothing really. I see a bookmark over here, so I go and I just try to put some pressure, try to get some mana back while I'm auto attacking. I see that we get rooted here. I throw the sea wave down to just try and I backpedal. I get caught by a tank. I look at Swings to try to get out. I get the wings off. I'm just trying to backpedal here and try to get back to my ranks, just try to reposture, try to collect and just throw all my cooldowns down. I'm trying to get all my teammates healed back up. I'm looking, waiting for my cooldowns. I'm almost out of mana. I just try to auto attack here. I hit my Resplendent Beam to try and just top everybody off again. I throw all my cooldowns for my AoEs, just trying to keep everybody alive. I just auto attack here to try and get some mana back so I can burn another set of cooldowns while we backpedal, waiting for our teammates to arrive. We hit a server worker here, which causes everybody to freeze. We're backpedaling, we're still backpedaling. I hit another Resplendent Beam here to try to keep everybody alive. I see Muggsy over here, my guild leader trying to take a lot of damage, so I full-fledged into him, and then he ends up dying anyway from too much DPS, and then I get caught, and then we meet our fate. We end up securing the kill on Tumok and getting loot, but this was a great battle. Even though we took the L there in that battle, we won the war. And if you happen to make it this far and want more guides, PvP, PvE, gear, or whatever, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.